This next series is a Greco circuit that I picked up from the Korean national team. I've modified it over time and it seemed to work really well with my athletes preparing for Fargo, Akron, the US Open, and whatnot. However, this is more or less a skill development workout beyond your basic back arching, back stepping, things of that nature. So be prepared, make sure you already understand how to do those things before you do this. It starts off with a 1 minute go with each person, and they both have no arms, and they put their arms behind their back, and they're in a Greco stance. Their lead leg is pointed forward, their back foot is teed up, so it's like your backstop, and then they have no hands. All right, your chest is up, and you're sort of sitting in that chair here. Now everybody's Greco stance is going to evolve and be a little different over time. But people in Greco athletes should understand this is the basis of your stance. You're in a good power posture position. And so really I just want both athletes to be starting to lean in, pushing on each other, pushing, circling, staying in a good position, pushing up that back foot. I never want to get my toe here because that's when I start going heel to toe and I get pushed back. So this is my backstop. All right, so pushing, circling, pushing, circling. All right, so we go about 1 minute there, doing a stance type of drill before we get into any attacks. And then we start to roll into our skills. This first skill is pretty easy. I want to go belly to back on my opponent and get a nice Greco lock. So for me personally, I like to throw to my left side so my opposite hand, palm, is going to face out. And then I get my lock here and I pinch my elbows. Now for this particular drill, I just want to get them loaded up on my hips and keep swinging them into this pocket of space here. So right here, pinch them. Put them in that pocket of space, cinch them up. Put them in that pocket of space, cinch them up. Put them in the pocket of space, cinch them up. Now you should feel like you're in pretty good control here. Every single one. All right. So I'd have the athletes do 10 of those each. They go 10, they bounce until everybody has done their 10 each, and then we'd move on to the next. Okay, this is the second set in that circuit. We've already done no hands in our stance, and we did the cinching up drill with our partner. This time, one person's gonna have no hands, and the other person is gonna have hands. So you can imagine what we're gonna be doing here. The person who has no hands, you're in a good Greco position and stance. You got your teed up feet, you're sitting in that pocket, and the other person, obviously they're also in their Greco stance, but they're gonna start coming in there and grabbing elbows, right? Remember, your partner has no arms, so they got elbows. So I'm gonna start grabbing elbows and steering them. Maybe push on their head a little bit. Steering them, push on their head, change your feet, steering them, push your head again. And notice my elbows are in every time. Pushing, pulling, pushing, pulling. And every time I change my feet, if I circle my feet, I'm always going back to that teed up stance. So again, that will be 1 minute, one person, no hands, the other person's moving them around, and the person with no hands is just really holding good position. They're never gonna get snapped down here, right? If they get pushed on, they're not falling back because they got their back leg teed up, all right? And if they're pushing, you're teed up, you might go here, but all your weight returns and you get back to this balanced position. All right, the second part of the second set is a belly to belly cinch up into your hips. The first one we were belly to back, cinching that opponent up or our partner up into our hips. It's essentially the same exact thing, right? I want to get my lock correct here, finger lock. It's essentially the same exact thing, except we're belly to belly. I cinch them up right here, and I swing my hips to move them. Cinch, cinch. Notice I have some space here with my arms. That's why it's super important to pull them into that hip pocket here. Here, pull them, cinch. Here, pull them, cinch. Here, pull them, cinch. Use your hips, pull them, cinch. All right, we go 10 each. Again, get your athletes bouncing if they finish ahead of people, and you will get guys that are more proficient at this. So get them bouncing, waiting for everybody else. You could also layer on a third part of each set. I used to add in a calisthenic. So that's all up to you, but this is the basis of the workout. That's set 2. Here we go, set 3. We're in our stance. Both athletes have their arms. They're in a good Greco stance. Now they're attacking. I always start with just attacking that front arm, right? I don't want to be attacking with my back arm first and then have all this space right here. So I'm always emphasizing and preaching to my athletes to attack with their front arm. And I'm not reaching, I'm trying to meet them with my shoulder. You notice my back shoulder's not square up, it's behind me, so really the only thing leading is my right leg, my right shoulder, and my hand. And my hand is loose, right? And I want to come in and attack that front arm. And maybe I start to get them attacking, maybe I attack that front arm, straighten it out, and run to an arm drag. All right, and normally we go 1 minute goes, attack that front arm, straighten it, run to that arm drag. Attack that front arm, straighten it, run to that arm drag. All right, so we go 1 minute, one athlete, all their attacks, and then 1 minute, the other athlete, all their attacks. Again, you don't have to follow this exactly. You can prescribe whatever you want for an attack with your athletes. You can get them going right into a drag to the mat to a gut wrench. It doesn't matter. I like to progress it on a skill day, Greco skill day, where they're slowly progressing, they're hitting upon their fundamental skills, and they can think about it and also go through, really just let their muscle memory bring them through the workout. Okay, the second part of the third set, we're gonna lay off the throws here and get our legs going, get a leg burn here. So I'd have your partner on the ground in terre, or they could even be in sort of referee's position up on their knees, depending on how challenging you want it. And it's just gonna be a hop over. I stick with 10 reps just for the sake of consistency, so your athletes aren't questioning how many reps every single set, but you can change it up on them. The hop over, it's not this. This is a mistake I see athletes do, and it's often because athletes start to get lazy here and they don't want to challenge, and they do this. All right, that's pretty easy when I can double hop, but when I can explode over, right back over, right, it's a little more challenging to get your feet right back down again. So again, I prescribe 10 each, get them bouncing again, shaking it out, wait for the rest of your athletes to be ready, and then we're on to set 4. On to set 4, we're in our Greco stance, we're gonna get to some attacks, maybe we start closing that gap a little bit more, and this time I wanna get them loading their partner on their back, either an arm throw or a headlock, and just load them up. Now you could get them to start throwing it right away, but again, we're just focusing on the Greco skill. We're not necessarily trying to get reps here. We're just trying to get their skills sharpened up here. So maybe we just go off an arm throw, load them up. So you don't need to, it doesn't have to be super tight, but they're in a Greco stance. They back step in, and then they load them up. Right there, that's 1. There's 2. All right? And you want to probably get 10 each, where they keep loading them up. 3, 4, 5. All right? 10. Actually, on this one, maybe you have them go, keep that 1 minute duration going, and then switch them off to the other person 1 minute. This next Greco throwing skill is a reverse lift, and it's just a spin. We're not throwing it. So if you already know it, your opposite arm's gonna come across his back, and I'm gonna get my lock underneath. All right, opposite arm across his back. My front leg gets loaded underneath his armpit. So ideally, he's right here on your hip. All right. Now with a person, it's a little easier to sort of pop them through, but that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5, 6, 7, that's 8. All right, you want to go 10 reps each. Get them bouncing, Wait for the rest of the athletes to be ready for set number 5. All right, we're on to set number 5. If you've noticed, we did 3 sets of pure stance discipline and getting to make sure we've got our feet set properly. The 4th set, we started getting to a throw and loading them up on our back. This time we're gonna get to a body lock, any body lock you want really. And you wanna get their opponent's feet off the mat. And their job is just to start wailing their arms, wailing their feet, pushing on your face. And your job is to keep the lock, right? Keep their feet off the ground, because he can't wrestle with his feet off the mat, right? And your job is to walk backwards with them. So on any throw, you're always trying to load them up on your hips. So that means you're pulling them backwards onto your hips. And so in this drill, I like this drill because he's not giving you a 100% look, but he's giving you somewhat of a realistic look. When somebody gets off their feet in the air, they're gonna be going a little crazy in there. So any lock you want, belly to belly, you can get any lock you want, just get it tight. He's rolling around, and just get your athletes walking backwards on their toes, all right? Keeping them going. This is what it should look like. If you have a really long wrestling room, you know, that person could probably go down and back, and it might take them a minute, and then you have them switch, and then the other person does 1 minute. All right, so that's the first part of the 5th set. Second part of that 5th set is going to be a fireman's carry. In Greco, we can't grab their leg, but we can still get a nice fireman's carry without the leg. Any way you want to get it, however you want. I'm just going to go wrist and tricep here, load them up here on my shoulders. All right, now the key for me on this is going to be a lunge for 1 minute, opposite leg lunging. So I'm going stepping, my back knee never touches, coming up right here. Don't get your athletes doing this, all right? I want to see your athletes, you should want to see your athletes lunge, be patient, bring your feet back together. Lunge, be patient, bring your feet back together. Lunge, be patient, bring your feet back together. Again, I'm going 1 minute, all right? Back knee never hits. It's a very patient lunge, but I'm controlling the arm, making sure that my opponent or my partner is being a good partner and they're not falling off my shoulders, making it more difficult. They could even try and lock their arms if they want, but that's the basis of this set, first part of the set. This is the 6th set of the overall workout. You can have as many sets as you want, but again, remember, your focus in this particular workout is to sharpen up their fundamental Greco skills. It's not to necessarily get reps, tons of reps in. It's not to go 100% all out live. It's to stay sharp mentally. And especially if you're training U16 and junior athletes and they have to switch back and forth between freestyle and Greco all the time, this is a good way to really just jolt their memory, jolt their body with a good hard workout, and to really just get them back in that Greco mindset. Because it is easy when you start hitting your knees, attacking, to sort of not be able to switch back very quickly. So I've always found that this type of workout works really well to turn that switch back on. So this is the 6th set. Again, you can modify this any way you want. I like this particular structure. On this one, the last 2, I have 7 sets. The last 2, I'd probably give them more free rein, starting back in their stance again and getting off any attacks that they want. Maybe an opposite side arm drag to a duck under, and then get them transitioning to gut wrenches. All right, we haven't even done any terre yet. So the last 2 sets, all right, the 1 minute go, first part of it, I'd get them going to an attack, any attack they want, but it's got to be transition to a Greco turn, on the mat turn. So we're talking about gut wrenches. All right, so again, 1 minute first athlete, 1 minute second athlete, and then we're moving on to the second part of that set. Here's the second part of the 6th set. Remember, in that previous part of the set, we were going takedown attack to a gut wrench. We're going to terre. So this time we are going to go back to terre, but we're gonna focus on our lift from the mat. All right, so let's just get your partner in parterre, get your lock correct. If you're lifting, well, on this one we're going straight up, but if you're stepping to one particular side and you like one particular side, remember the opposite palm is going face down, and then you're meeting your fingers like this. All right, so if I'm going left, my right palm is always down because it gives me some lifting power here, and I don't lose my lock as opposed to here. And I start lifting to the left, I start to lose my lock because my left arm is bearing a lot of the pressure. So I want that forearm deep and the palm down. All right, so get in a good habit of that. I'm gonna start on this particular one. I'm just gonna start directly behind. I can even have my feet between their knees, and my knees on the outside of their hips to sort of trap them in that space. Get your lock set. All right, and again, bottom's giving you no resistance. Really, I just want you guys stepping up, straight up, and then lifting all the way up, putting them all the way back through that hole. And then you gotta get set again, all the way back down to your chest. All right, so again, step up, both feet, lift all the way up, put them all the way back through the hole. Get set again. Do not let your athletes get away with skipping that step where they start lifting. They start lifting and they don't go all the way back down. They just do this. Of course, you can have them do that, but they're skipping a whole critical part of stepping their feet up to the outside of their opponent's body and being able to really deadlift them and then popping their hips so they go up in the sky. All right, so I'll do it again. Again, sticking with 10 reps. Let me turn this way so you can see. Feet between the thighs, inner thighs, knees on the outside. Get your finger lock, chest all the way down. All right, now elbows are pinched. I'm gonna step up. All right, I'm already in that sort of that deadlift position. Now I lift, I pop my hips, put them back down. And again, this is the part where your athletes will cheat a little bit. Make them go all the way back to here. All right, 10 reps there each. Get them bouncing. Wait for all the other athletes. And if you have slower athletes, especially on these ones, and guys that or girls that are not as seasoned with these skills, just make sure they're getting 10 good attempts, because most young athletes are not going to be able to lift like that. All right, you'll get some, but I would say most are not going to be able to do that. So make sure they're getting 10 good reps, tries, and then you're moving on. 7th and final set in my particular workout that I'm giving to you guys. Again, feel free to modify it any way you want. Take away sets, add sets. I probably wouldn't go too much beyond 7 sets because this is taxing. The workout, overall workout, doesn't take that long. You can get it done within 30 minutes. And again, as I had mentioned, it is more or less just to give your athletes a jolt and remind their bodies that, look, we are going to wrestle Greco. And again, more geared towards age group level athletes. However, you can have your senior athletes do this. I have my senior athletes do this, and it is a great way to remind their bodies to get back into that Greco mindset. All right, so 7th, last set in my particular workout. Have them go into attacks again. Have them go into Greco turns from parterre, but they're focusing on transitioning. Good, clean transitions. Take down, right to a gut wrench. Take down, right to a gut wrench. And they're 1 minute goes. All right, partner's not giving a whole lot of resistance, but there's just enough there to make it challenging. All right, so again, 1 minute one athlete, 1 minute the other athlete, and then we're moving on to the last final part of the 7th set in the end of the workout. Okay, last part of the main workout. We're gonna finish it off with an actual throw. To this point, we haven't done any type of throws. We've done a lot of skill development, working through and progressing. Now we're actually gonna get a throw from parterre, because you want your guys and girls being able to lift from parterre and feel confident that they can throw somebody for 4 points down there. All right, so have your partner start at parterre, start flat. Remember, we did this in the last set, and we did a straight lift, coming all the way through the hole, putting them back in the middle. This time we want to get your feet set to the outside of their body, whether it's going to be a swing step or whether it's going to be just a straight lift, getting your hips to the outside and loading them up on that back leg. Let me start a little bit further back so I'm not a throw. All right, so get your lock set again. I'm going to show this from 2 angles. I'm going to show 2 throws from 2 angles, so 4 different throws, 4 different views. All right, again, I'm doing a straddle, right, a neutral straddle on his legs, knees on the outside, feet on the inside. Your finger lock, I'm going left. All right, my chest is down. All right. Now, for me, I go left, so I want to stick my left shoulder right there on the top of his back. And what that will do, if you can get it right, it's going to start to bow the back end of them up. All right? And when the back end goes up, you sneak your right leg in, right here. Once he's loaded up on your hip, you stand up, you cinch him up, stand up, and then walk towards their head and get a nice back arch throw. All right, so that's, let me do it from another angle. Do it from this angle. Straddle, knees outside, feet inside, finger lock. All right, left shoulder is going to crash the top of his back, because what I want all that pressure forward, and ultimately I want his hips to come up just enough so my right foot can load him up onto my hip. So when I crash, you notice his right hips came up, I stick my foot in there, I load him up, I cinch him, right? I stand all the way up, and I walk towards his head here and get an arch. So that's throw number 1. I'll show you a second throw here. But I'd have them stick with maybe 5 of those. You want them ripping off throws, but you don't want to have your athletes hurt each other here. Here's that last part of the main workout. Your feet are going to start between the inner thighs. Your knees are going to be on the outside. You have your finger lock. The same setup as the previous throw from parterre. Your left shoulder, whatever side you're going. For me, it's left. My left shoulder is going to crash the upper part of his back to get his body bowing up. Now, sometimes it's just not going to work. And so you need a secondary throw from there, whether it's a gut wrench or another throw. This is going to be a throw, and it's a sneaky way to get it. I get my finger lock here. Again, my feet, I crash, I can't get it. Now, the key is I keep my knee at the hip and my foot on the inside of his body. My right foot is the one that has to swing and step up. So it's going to be sneaky. So instead of my right foot stepping here on the left side, it's going to swing up, and that's going to allow me to rotate my left foot. So it's going to look like this. I set it up with the left. I can't get it. I step right, and now I cinch him up. Now sometimes that leg will still be there, right here, in between your leg. You can step out, or you can back arch through. I'm going to step out and take him through. I'll do another angle here, so you can see. Remember, always starting right here, because what this does is it weights his hips down, so he can't really move a whole lot on you. So, finger lock, knees outside, toes inside. Left shoulder, for me it's left shoulder, crashing in. Your left knee is on the mat right now. My foot's still on the inner thigh. The right foot is the one that has a lot of freedom right now, right? Because it could still potentially step to the side, to the left side. But I don't feel him really giving me the space. So I'm gonna go from here. I crash, I can't get it. I step up, right? Now I sneak my left foot over, whether it drops between his legs or steps all the way out. It drops here, I lift, and now I can back arch through everything towards his head and kick this leg out from between his feet, right here. We're gonna line up the same exact way. Feet start on the inside of his thighs, knees on the outside. What this is effectively doing is pinching his hips there. Now, if you got longer legs than me, right, you could probably use them a little more effectively. So you gotta learn how to use your hips to weight his body down so he doesn't have a whole lot of mobility here. Second is your finger lock. Third is your shoulder pressure. For me, I'm trying to set him up to throw left every time. But this particular throw, we're setting him up because he's countering the left, so I'm gonna go right. But I get my finger lock, I set my shoulder position up, right? Now, my left leg, my inside leg doesn't move because I feel like he's just not giving me enough space here to hop my right leg in. So I pressure forward, I feel like he's not going anywhere. Now, my right leg is the one that's gonna step up. It can be free here because the right leg is the one you either load him up on your right leg, on the left side, or you step up. All right. So you can turn it into a swing step if you're pressuring really hard left, and you get your right leg over. You can swing up. All right. Now you can sneak your left foot in. You can lift right here. Now from here you can step out, load them up, pinch, and get a nice back arch from here. Another angle, so you can see it. This time, we'll do the straddle throw where I don't clear that leg. Sometimes you're just not going to be able to clear the leg and you still got to mount the throw off, because remember, every throw from terre should effectively be a 4-point throw. All right, so line up again the way we've been doing it. Finger lock, left shoulder in, left leg doesn't leave. My right foot is the one that's sort of preparing itself, whether it steps to the left and loads it up, or whether it swings up here, sneak your left one in. See that? It's up. I can swing it, and then you see that left leg? It's snuck right between his legs. Now I can cinch him right up. It could be a fast cinch, it could be a slow cinch. Cinch him up. All right, now if he gets stuck here, that's okay. I'm gonna basically do a dive roll, back arch towards his head, and I gotta step out of this with this leg. So it's gonna be a high leg through and get a nice arch through right here.
It's getting serious on this track.